Well, I'm now joined by the Executive Director of the Henry Jackson Society, Dr. Alan Mendoza. Welcome to the show, Dr. Mendoza. So we've just seen the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, calling for calm, sentiment echoed by the leader of the opposition, Sir Keir Starmer. And yet we spoke to a correspondent in Jerusalem there saying, what right does the West have Israel to tell it to calm down? An historic barrage of drones and ballistic missiles, and continually, it seems those pulling the levers of the tensions are the Iranians.
Well, yes, I mean, Iran is quite clearly the malefactor in the region. It is quite clearly the country that is causing disturbance, not just to its neighbours, but far beyond as well. And I have some sympathy, obviously, for the view from Jerusalem on this. Were the missile and drone barrage that Israel was subjected to on Saturday night coming to our shores, I can't believe for a moment that the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition would be suggesting that we sit back and do nothing. Now, obviously, we don't want to see war. There's no one who wants to see an escalation. But the reality is that for 75 years, the State of Israel has survived in a hostile environment by taking threats like Iran seriously rather than sitting back. And it's not going to do something different this time, particularly when that state has repeatedly called for its eradication.
And do you believe, Dr. Mendoza, that if we appear impotent to the Iranians over this, it could have an impact on British streets? A report out today by the Policy Exchange think tank showing that the Islamic Centre of England, based in London in Maida Vale, received £250,000 of COVID relief during the pandemic, despite having £4 million in the bank, calling itself the voice of Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah, on London's streets. We have to appear resolute and strong, do we not? Because this could have an impact on British streets.
Well, yes, the reality is, unfortunately, that Iran has established its agents on UK soil for some time. And we know this not simply because of linkages like the one you've just discussed, which have been known for some time, but we've also seen it in the assassination attempts against Iranian journalists in exile in London, the threats to Iranians in exile in London from other sources. So we know that Iran has got agents on the ground here. We know that Iran is looking to spread its malign influence in the UK as well and spark incidents here. So it makes perfect sense that we do start to crack down on Iran rather than appease it and allow it to continue down this dangerous path that the regime is taking it.
Concern to me, Dr. Mendoza, was that the Islamic Centre of England have been discovered as being behind the protests outside schools, particularly the Batley Grammar School protest. 3 years on, that teacher is still in hiding. Do you think it's acceptable that groups such as the Islamic Centre of England are even allowed to operate in Britain if they're behind such events such as that, where people's livelihoods are ended? They are forced into hiding via what appears to be backdoor blasphemy laws, and yet they still operate, still no action is taken. Is that right?
Well, that particular institution has been under Charity Commission investigation for some time, ever since there was a vigil there for the murdered terrorist Qasem Soleimani. And so that put them firmly in the sight of the Charity Commission. But this new report will no doubt add fuel to the fire of the idea that we should not be allowing British charities that have foreign linkages in this way, that might even be dictated to by foreign powers, and then perhaps get out on the streets of the UK and try and disrupt British life. That is clearly something that should be cracked down on immediately. There are measures the government could take about charities like that. There are measures the government could take, like prescribing the IRGC straight away to send a message to Iran that enough is enough. We're not going to tolerate it any longer.